Good Saturday evening to you all. Uh, Getting this all done ahead of time so I can post it tomorrow morning. This will be my Sunday morning musings. And there's really, I covered a lot of our scripture passages that are assigned for this Sunday, except in the common lectionary, there's a choice of Old Testament readings, Hebrew scripture readings, and one of them just follows along in a flowing narrative and has been dealing with the stories of Genesis. And Genesis is a word that means beginnings. And we have the beginnings of the people of Israel. In fact, where we're at in the story, uh, Israel doesn't even exist yet. Actually, Israel is going to come from Jacob when his name gets changed to Israel. But Jacob is in the story. Yeah, Genesis 29 has the story of Jacob looking for a wife. Now, this is really something. I would caution you to never, ever, and I mean never, ever, say what this country needs is getting back to biblical marriage. Don't ever say it. Because if you do, I'm pulling out Genesis 29 and showing you Jacob and what Jacob did. Make a long story short, Jacob ends up with two wives and two concubines, so to speak, and has a slew of kids by him. And you know what? That was okay. That was just fine back then. So please, please, don't go talking to me about biblical marriage because there's a whole lot of strange things that happen in the Old Testament with biblical marriage. But the thing that is interesting about Jacob and how he ends up with two wives, you might remember the story. He had gone to his uncle's territory, Uncle Laban, because you would do that. You would go to family in order to stay and look around for a wife. And it just so happened that Laban had two daughters, Rachel and Leah. And it's kind of a funny story. It's funny in that Jacob makes a deal with Laban that he'll work for him for 7 years to marry Rachel. And Laban goes, yeah, let's do it. Sounds like a deal to me. Works for 7 years. They have a big wedding party. Let's just say Jacob had a little too much to drink. And that night, Laban goes and gets his daughter, gives him to Jacob. They consummate the marriage. And it's funny. The scripture says in the morning when Jacob woke up, it was Leah. It was Leah. It wasn't Rachel who he wanted. It was Leah. So he goes up back to Laban and says, what's up, dude? We made the deal for Rachel. Oh, but you forgot. You have to marry the oldest daughter off first. That's my obligation. And then you get the younger one. Well, they worked out a compromise. The compromise is that Jacob would work another 7 years to get Rachel, although Laban let him take her as his second wife at that point. Now, you don't want to get into the whole stuff about biblical marriage because it's just kind of crazy in what happened here. But you see, it's an example of a story that talks about how, this is even crazier, how all the tribes of Israel got their names. You go, what? No, it's just a crazy story about Jacob getting two wives and two concubines and a bunch of kids. No, because all of those kids became, all the sons, that is, because there was one daughter born to him, but all the sons became the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. And can I give you a little Testy Tuesday ahead of time type of quiz? What's the name of the most famous of those sons? You know, He had a coat of many colors. Joseph. All right. So it's kind of fun to look at the alternate reading just to see what it was all about. And sometimes we look at the story and we get the story when we're in Sunday school as little kids, and it's kind of, sugar coated. But this is when it's full of intrigue, it's full of deception. And don't think that Jacob wasn't a deceptive type of guy. Remember how he cheated Esau, his brother, out of his birthright? Yeah, even though Esau was a little stupid to kind of sell it off, so to speak, for a bowl of stew. So, yep, good stuff. Good stuff. Go ahead, pull out Genesis. Start reading it. It's a lot of fun. And just remember, it is a story, Genesis 29, of how all those individual sons of Jacob, their names became the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. Even as Jacob's name would be changed from Jacob to Israel. We'll have a blessed Sunday, because that's when I'm going to be posting this. And we'll see you all Monday morning. Yeah, why not? Take care and God bless.